My name is Jafar. Me and my fellow teammates, John, Jeremiah, and Liam, will be presenting to you what material we believe is the most suitable for a bicycle frame and why. Carbon fiber. Carbon fiber is made from fibers which has a diameter of 5 to 10 micrometers, composed mostly of carbon atoms, which is the sixth element in the periodic table and is a non-metal. Carbon fiber has a similar atomic structure to graphite and consists sheets of carbon atoms arranged in a regular hexagonal pattern, the difference being in the way these sheets interlock. Carbon fibers are polymers which are combined with other materials to form composites. When a plastic resin layer is laid on top and baked, it forms carbon fiber reinforced polymer, which often is referred to as carbon fiber. This material has a very high strength to weight ratio and is extremely rigid, although somewhat brittle. Carbon fibers are 10 to 12 times more expensive than steel, but it also has 5 times more tensile strength than what steel does. Carbon fibers has a lot of advantages such as high elastic modulus, which allows this material to deform less under load, high tensile strength, which means it can stand more load, and it has a high strength to weight ratio, which is one of the most significant advantages for a bicycle frame. As well as this material is not being a non-metal leads us to not having to deal with oxidation or corrosion. This material also have other advantages like high chemical resistance, high temperature tolerance, low thermal expansion, and extremely is rigid. Carbon fiber is used across different industries like aerospace, civil engineering, military, motorsports, other competition sports. Did you know that Boeing 787, an airplane which carries 242 to 335 passengers, is made from 50% carbon fiber? Thank you for listening. I will now hand over the presentation to Jeremiah.
Hi there, my name is Jeremiah now, and I'll be speaking about titanium as the best suitable material for bicycle frames. Titanium was first discovered in 1791 by Reverend William Gregor from Cornwall, England. It is the ninth most abundant element in Earth's crust, and it is found in roadside, ilmenite, and sphene. Advantages: higher stiffness, its E is about 103 to 114 GPa, which is almost half of steel. Elongation is a property that tells us how much something is able to bend before it breaks. In a material without much elongation is said to be brittle, and a brittle material is not good for a bicycle frame. It is a fatigue strength, resistance to corrosion due to because of a stable substantial inert oxide film embedded within titanium. Higher tensile strength and exceptional rigidity. It is expensive, highly reactive, extracting is very difficult, and fabrication, welding and machining is quite tricky. It requires meticulous handling to avoid any contamination to titanium. And mining is not eco-friendly because it causes soil degradation and underground water contamination. Titanium availability. Titanium bicycles were created in the mid-1980s. 50 companies currently producing titanium bicycles, and US is the largest manufacturer and consumer of titanium bicycles. 90% produced in US by OE, and 5% built outside of US, and another 5% built in US but by smaller independent shops. And on my right, I have top producing countries titanium producing countries: China producing 100,000 metric tons of titanium and India producing 500 metric tons of titanium. Material classification: two crystallographic forms of titanium. Titanium beta is BBC crystal lattice and alpha titanium HCP crystal lattice, and four groups of titanium alloys, commercially pure and low alloy titanium alloys, and the rest. Various applications: since titanium is resistant to salt water, it is therefore used for propeller shafts and rigging and other parts of the boat. And titanium and titanium alloys have high strength, low weight, and are resistant to temperature, increasing temperature. Therefore, they're used in airplanes, missiles, and rockets. They are also used in artificial hips, pins for setting bones, and biological implants because they do not react within the body. Thank you.
Hi, my name is John Taylor, and I'm part of the Mr. Tough group. Today I'm going to be talking about bamboo as a bicycle frame. So, in the current era, bike frames are usually made out of steel or aluminium and even carbon fiber. However, I think bamboo is a great alternative for these. Bamboo is a very versatile material and can be used for structural support in buildings and much more. It is easy to grow and collect. Bamboo itself is very strong, and with its wide availability, strength, while being light, it would be very useful for a bike frame, and here's why. The strengths of a bamboo bike is that bamboo has many advantages over conventional bike frame materials. It is more available than other counterparts. Bamboo is cheaper due to being a growable resource. It can be planted almost anywhere compared to steel or aluminium that needs to be gathered or bought. Bamboo is stronger than steel for its weight. It has a tensile strength of 28,000 per square inch, which is 5,000 more than steel. Due to its availability, developing countries can manufacture frames with lower cost than using steel or carbon fiber. Being that it is a plant, it also means it's a sustainable resource. When it's over and you're done with it, it wouldn't cause pollution. In first world countries, it's already used for strengthening buildings and concrete. It's also widely available for use. It's strong, it's affordable, and it's a good choice compared to other materials, especially for developing countries. However, its weaknesses, there aren't too many. The major ones is that it takes time to grow. The resource needs to grow before its use, and waiting times can vary between a few years or a few months. Depending on the species, it can either grow 35 inches a day or an inch a month before it properly grows to 80 feet. Unlike steel or carbon fiber, the bike frames aren't as easy to automate in a factory either. Rather, it needs to be built by hand. To conclude, bamboo as a bike frame is a great choice. It is cheaper, and if you're willing to wait, it's a great solution for its price and a great choice for developing countries that don't have the available resources. Thank you very much.
Hi, my part of the project will be on aluminium. So its classification is a metal, it is ductile, it has a tensile strength of 310 micropascals, and it is a common resource. And below is a table with more detail. So the pros of aluminium. So aluminium bikes frames are the most common in the world. The material is used for various components. Aluminium itself isn't very dense, so it can be made into lightweight structures. example bike frames. The frames are relatively cheap to manufacture compared to carbon fiber, which can take 14 times longer to produce. It has a high corrosion resistance, and aluminium frames themselves are able to be manipulated. So the main process of manipulation on aluminium bike frames is the process of butting. So what butting does is it is essentially increasing the thickness of the tubes of the frame, and therefore giving different results. So the first stage is straight gauge. So straight gauge doesn't have any very tube thickness, and therefore can't handle high stress. So next is single butted, which are thicker at one end, where strength is only needed at a specific location. Example, the bottom bracket junction. Double gauged, which the tubes are thicker at both ends. And this is used where additional strength is required. And then there is lastly triple butted, which the tubes serve the same process as double butted, but further reduce the weight in the center. So another common process of manipulation of aluminium bike frames is hydroforming. So hydroforming is a way of shaping the metal using a molten fluid. So the way it works is that aluminium tubes are placed into a mold that is a specific shape. Fluid is then pumped into at extremely high pressure, causing the aluminium to press into a mold and take its shape. So hydroforming is used to optimize the tube shapes for additional stiffness without requiring extra metal used in butting. So the cons of aluminium is mainly that aluminium itself is difficult to repair, and it requires vastly more maintenance as it fatigues over time compared to other materials like carbon fiber. And cheaper bikes tend to have poorer welds, which can lead to increased chance of damage. So in conclusion, the four of us throughout this project have identified four materials, their advantages and disadvantages, and their availability in the world at large. Thank you.